best practices for building a strategic resume, negotiating, interviewing, managing salary jumps, avoiding career killers, landing promotions, and much more. This book is designed to be your career compass that'll reduce detours and propel you to six-figure success. This book has created the secret sauce your career stew needs to get on the fast track to six figures. In reading this book, expect to develop a clear six-figure career plan, customized for you and your professional field. You'll learn how to develop a standout resume using the proper keywords and phrases in your industry to catch the recruiter's eye. You'll also learn ways to navigate salary increases, interview do's and don'ts, managing your brand, navigating job or career changes, and much more. Why gamble with no plan? Bet on your success. The first step is believing you can do it, and the next step is cracking this book open and getting started. Don't waste another day procrastinating. Purchase on Amazon or by going to the website, sixfiguresby30.com. That's the number 6figuresby30.com. Sixfiguresby30.com.
The sleeper pick, the guy only you believe in. In 1 week fantasy football on DraftKings, he can be the difference. So trust your gut. Trust your numbers. Trust your Uncle Vito if you want. But know this, that sleeper is out there. The question is, who's going to play him? This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time.
To create your account, click on the banner link on thedougstewartshow.com or the Doug Stewart Show app. Do you have your own radio show? Are you an artist or a DJ? BB Mobile Apps is the solution for you. They specialize in creating mobile apps for entertainers. That's right. You can have your own mobile app where your followers can hear your shows or music, watch your videos, and view all your social networks in one place. You can even make money with banner ads and send push notifications directly to your audience to make sure they get your messages. Everyone has their phones on them, right? A mobile app will add credibility to your brand because your content will be accessible to them while they're on the go. BB Mobile Apps also makes apps for bloggers, actors, and producers. The process only takes about 20 minutes. Just go to bbmobileapps.com and click Get Started Now. That's bbmobileapps.com and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Footballsportsapp.com. What is it? It's the first live action mobile sports app played in real time and a cool way to immerse yourself in the game. Make coaching calls just like the pros. Check out the video. Download for free this fall and register now again at footballsportsapp.com. Want to be part of this new exciting technology and make money? Fill out the short form at the bottom of the website and mention TDSS. Again, footballsportsapp.com. Yes, sir. The Great Woman Wednesday. Yes, sir. Kai Toy Johnson. Shots out, Kai Toy. All right, welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. It is a Woman's Wednesday. Don't forget at 12 noon today Eastern Time, we got Sports Done Right with the sports governor of Minnesota, Big Vince Wright. And then following him at about 2 p.m. Eastern Time, you've got Marcus Harper's Sports Talk with Soul. So, man, yesterday I did something, and I don't even know if it even, got to him. I don't even know if this guy checks his Twitter to this extent or even cares that somebody has a different opinion from him. But yesterday I'm watching PTI, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I'm watching PTI, and for the second day in a row, Mike Wilbon goes off on Cam Newton and in effect talks about the fact that he should stop trying to run the football and just, play quarterback, I guess, the traditional way. Now, y'all know, if you listen to this show, I got certain signature takes, I guess you could call it. And one of them is dual threat / New Jack / black quarterbacks in the NFL. You know that. And so I watched this once again. I was like, wait a minute. When he said it, talking about Cam and, the hits that he's been taking and, the fact that he hadn't been playing great football this year, I said to myself, wait a minute. He said the same thing yesterday and bashing Cam Newton about his style of play. So I couldn't take it anymore. And then so I jumped on Twitter and found his account or whatever, and here's a series of tweets that I sent out to Mike Wilbon. Now let me say this, for the record, as a disclaimer, and I even said it in the tweets that I sent out to him. Much respect. I mean, we know Wilbon, obviously being at ESPN for many years. We had him on our show all the time. I mean, literally, as far as black journalists, he's kind of like one of the OGs out there. So I got much respect for him, still have much respect for him. I just think that on this particular issue, his thinking is wrong, okay? Just like I disagree with the Grizz feels the same way, okay? Knowing the history of black quarterbacks in the NFL, of quote-unquote dual-threat quarterbacks in the NFL, it's very disappointing to hear a black news sports person say that, these quarterbacks should stop running the football. Here's a series of tweets that I sent directed to Mike Wilbon yesterday, and you should be following me on Twitter anyway, all right? So you probably should have seen these already. The first tweet I sent out is respect. I put that first, and you listen to the Doug Stewart Show. I said respect, but why do you have such a problem with Cam Newton running the football? Is it just Cam or all dual-threat quarterbacks? All right, that's one. Then the next one I went and says, what? Because they may get hurt? Quarterbacks that are pocket statues, that's what I call cats that don't move at all. I call them pocket statues. They get hurt. See Dan Marino and Tom Brady. It's football. Then I went on to say, so athletic quarterbacks shouldn't use the gifts God gave them. A lot of this stuff is stuff that you heard on this show if you're a Stewie. So athletic quarterbacks shouldn't use the gifts God gave them. That's silly. If teams don't want a running quarterback, don't draft them. The next tweet. The game is evolving, giving opportunities to players that would have had to change positions 20 years ago, and you're bashing? Next tweet. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Greg Ward Jr., not to mention a multitude of New Jack quarterbacks. That's the phrase that I coined, New Jack quarterbacks, are dominating over the last 10 years. Next tweet. I know Sean Jones from Georgia Tech, Tommy Frazier from Nebraska, Major Harris from West Virginia, Tony Rice from Notre Dame, wish that they played today and not in their era. I always contend, man, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Let me stop right there for a second. I always contend that some of the quarterbacks from back in the day, in particular like Sean Jones at Georgia Tech, who could throw the football, Major Harris at West Virginia, Tony Rice could throw the football. If you translate the things that they did during their era, Don McPherson at Syracuse, old school, if you translate what they did back then to today, even Joe Hamilton not so long ago, his stature probably hurts him to a degree, but Joe Hamilton could throw the football. And Joe Hamilton was a great athlete. If those athletes, if you asked them, or if you looked at what they did during their time and you transfer them to today's NFL or today's college football, they would be talked about and they would be drafted as high as some of these quote-unquote New Jack quarterbacks have been drafted over the last couple of years. They just came around during the wrong era. It's as simple as that. Then I went on to say, just recently these guys getting opportunities and you're killing the notion. 20 years ago, Cam Newton would have had to have moved to tight end. Do you agree? And then I went on with my classic line from the great Funkadelic, free your mind and your ass will follow. And I think this is the last one. I said again, much love, Wilbon. Much love and respect, but I heard your thoughts the last 2 days on PTI, and it's very disappointing as well as very disturbing. That's all that I said to the man. I don't want anybody to go, I don't want anybody to to say that I tried to go at him hard or I tried to start a fight with Mike Wilbon, but it was very disturbing to me. And I like Mike Wilbon. Once again, I think he's an OG in this game. I do, but I think he was wrong. I think he was out of pocket, and it really bothered me 2 days in a row. You wouldn't expect that from Mike Wilbon, that type of rhetoric. And I wish that we had a way to go back and listen to some of the comments that he made, but trust me on this, I'm not embellishing this at all. Both days, I'm just casually sitting there, you know, having a little cocktail or whatever on the couch, and both days he's like, Cam Newton should stop running. Stop trying to be a running back. I think he said something to that degree. Stop trying to be a running back, which is the most asinine thing in commentary that I think that I've ever heard in my life, man. So, no, I didn't go at him. I didn't try to start no fight. Respectfully, I question him and his thoughts on black quarterbacks in particular, athletic quarterbacks, dual-threat quarterbacks, you know, in today's NFL. You know, I expect that from Jason Whitlock. I didn't expect that from Mike Wilbon. That's all. That's all. And, man, I just gave a little short list of quarterbacks that were, just tremendous. I mean, the greatest example of that is Warren Moon. I mean, you made a future Hall of Fame. And Warren Moon wasn't even really a running, dual-threat quarterback. I mean, I guess he could probably much better in his younger days, but Warren Moon was a cat that stood in the pocket. But Warren Moon had to go play in Canada. Hall of Fame Warren Moon. A lot of people can make a good argument that maybe one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game or the top one or two quarterbacks to ever play the game. Doesn't have the hardware, doesn't have a lot of rings, but the man had to go play in freaking Canada. I go back to cats like Jamel Holloway at Oklahoma. There's been so many great, quote-unquote, dual-threat quarterbacks, cats that had been given the God's ability or the ability from God to run the football and move the chains with their legs. And there's one thing, I may have missed one of the tweets, but, oh no, I think I was responding to another guy that saw the conversation. And, he talked about how, why back in the day you never heard this about Randall Cunningham. No one ever had a problem with Randall Cunningham running the football. And what I said to that person was, Cunningham back during the time was an outlier. Cunningham was just one guy. There was really no thought at that time of Randall Cunningham being kind of like the prototype for that position 25 years later. Oh, Randall Cunningham, he runs the football. No big deal. Nothing to get up in arms about. But what's going on right now is there's been such an abundance of these quarterbacks over the last couple of years that the status quo of the position is being threatened. It is. I mean, think about it. Think about the quarterbacks that have been successful in college football itself over the last 10 years, as well as transferred that to the NFL. There's always, or there's almost some type of concerted effort by some media people to denigrate and downgrade, running quarterbacks. I don't know if it's conscious or subconscious. I don't know if they had some type of clandestine meeting about this or whatever. But, why would you go out of your way to bash a guy's skill set given to him by God once again? Why would you do that? And the thing I always go back to is, if you don't like that style of quarterback, don't draft them. But guess what? You have to draft them because they're the best quarterbacks available coming from college. And so I don't know what's going on, but I absolutely detest, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I absolutely detest when I hear somebody say, well, stop running. Stop trying to be a running back. Stay back there in the pocket like Dan Marino or Joe Montana or whatever. I hate that, man. And a lot of these cats, man, they buy into it. I always talk about how Vic, after a couple of years, he listened to all of the critics and he stopped trying to run. Then he went to jail and he got out and he was like, freak that, I'm going to go back to doing what I do. You got to do what you do. It's as simple as that. You can't be anybody else. Be the best you that you can be. And I'm talking about these quarterbacks, if you're listening.